Welcome everybody to this week's edition of the FSI PGA DFS Pick Show. We are here discussing the John Deere Classic. I'm your host, John Cole 19. My co-host this week, TK Nation, is taking some time to be with family. Good on him, well deserved. So he will be back next week. Looking back at last week's Travelers Championship, Xander Schauffele got a well-deserved win. It's been way too long for him since he's been in the winner's circle. Really happy for him. He's way too good of a golfer to go 2-3 years without a win. I expect him to maybe rattle off a couple more here in the next month or next couple months. He is just an excellent golfer, and he is in great form right now. Kind of sad to see Sahith Theegala on 18 on Sunday with a double bogey to lose the tournament. The choice to hit out of the sand there was obviously a poor choice, made up for it on the next two, but just couldn't get that last putt to fall to force a playoff. He will be back, though. He is an excellent rookie. We expect to see good things out of him going forward. This week, though, I'm probably going to steer clear. He is now over 10K in the pricing. That is, I think, kind of an ode to how bad this field is. He is not a 10K golfer on DraftKings, even though he is this week. And really, the field in general is pretty poor this week. So I think that's really important to focus on guys who didn't get the biggest price bump. Some of your 7K golfers that are usually 7K golfers, I'm going to be looking at them more than golfers who are 9K, who are usually 7K golfers, and avoid some of those guys who just got a huge price bump just because the field is so poor. Let's talk about the track just a little bit. TPC Deere Run is in Silvis, Illinois, par 71, 7,300 yards on bent grass greens. This is a typical birdie fest year in and year out. We see the scoring of the winner at about 20 under par or better than that. The cut probably around 2 under par, 3 under par, somewhere in that neighborhood. It would probably be even lower than that, except the field is usually not great here at the John Deere Classic. Some key stats to look at: ball striking, more specifically approach, is really important. This is a tree-lined course with very thick rough, so certainly fairway finders are going to be important this week. I am going to put a bump up in fairways gained and good drives gained in my modeling. So I'm really going to focus more on that. If we look at the stats that correlate a lot on this course, around the green game becomes very important, actually. You wouldn't think so within a birdie fest normally. If you're not hitting the greens, you're not making many birdies, and it's really going to hurt you. The issue here is you need to be able to get up and down and make par whenever you do miss. It's not the toughest. These are about average to slightly larger than average size greens. But really, anytime you miss the green here, you got to get up and down for par. Bogeys will absolutely kill you at this course. Par is not usually a great score, but bogey is just really, really bad on most every single hole. The vast majority of holes are going to play under par this week. So lots and lots of birdies. There are only the 3 par 5s, but really, they're really all gettable. We're going to see a bunch of eagles this week, lots and lots of birdies on those par 5s. So I'm putting par 5 scoring specifically 550 to 600 yards. Par 4 scoring quite important this week, as it usually is, but I'm putting kind of a bump in my model to birdie or better, as well as opportunities gained, looking for somebody maybe to get a hot putter this week that gives themselves lots of opportunities regularly. And I'm also putting shots gained on easy courses into my modeling. Who is playing the best when these conditions are so easy? Lots and lots of birdies out there, but we want to figure out who's making the most birdies when that's the condition. So that's kind of the basic form on my modeling this week. Let's go ahead and jump into some of my favorite plays. These are guys at the high end that are my very favorites to just outright win. Adam Hadwin comes in. He's at 10,400 in the pricing on DraftKings. I think that's a little steep for Adam Hadwin. We're normally seeing him really at or below 9K. But again, that's just the strength of this field is not good. He does have the best odds to win this week, second in pricing behind Webb Simpson. I'll talk about it in a moment. The form's pretty darn good here for Adam Hadwin, though. He's made 8 out of his last 9 cuts. That includes 7th in his last time out at the U.S. Open. He's made 5 top 10s already this season. He's having a really good year, Adam Hadwin is. He ranks 4th for me on comp courses, so I really like that. And then the stats, he's 4th around the green, 2nd birdies or better, and he's also 11th in par 5 scoring. Another golfer I'm going to turn to this week, though, Webb Simpson. He does pop in the model as well. He's really good on par fives, great on approach, an all-around golfer. He's got good course history as well. So these are the two guys I would focus on. I am very skeptical of a 10K Jason Day, who has not been very good this year at all. And then we talked about a little bit Theegala. I just can't pay that price for him. I don't understand how I could pay over 10K for him when I could have either of these guys here, or really fade them all, play some more balanced lineups. We'll just kind of see how ownership shakes out. Might end up doing that a little more, but these two are my very favorites. If you want to be paying up for one, or really both of these guys, if you want to get crazy, do need some values in your lineup. A couple guys that I like a lot. First, John Huh. He is at 7,800 on DraftKings. He's 45 to 1 outright bet to win. The form's pretty good for him. He's made 7 out of his last 10 cuts, but really the last couple events, 13th at the Travelers, 25th at the RBC Canadian, and 12th at the Charles Schwab. Not going to find many golfers in this field who have been that good over their last 3-4 events. The course history for him is quite good also. He's played here 7 times. He's made 4 out of his last 5 cuts, and he does have a 7th place in 2018. But really, I'm focusing on him based on the modeling. Everything points towards him having a great week this week, except for the putter. He's not a great putter. But for looking at approach, he's 5th in my model there, 24th in ball striking, number 1 opportunities gained. Should have a lot of opportunities to make birdie this week, 6th on par 5 scoring, 25th around the greens, and 10th birdie or better. A lot to like there. He's 4th overall in my model at 7,800. If I can get somewhat okay ownership and people not going crazy on him, I'm gonna play a lot of John here. Give me as many lineups as I can, as long as that ownership stays down. I think, though, he might be slightly owned, but I think he's coming in projected lower than Schenk and Svensson, both very popular golfers this week. I like both of those guys, but I think they're getting a little bit talked up too much. Rather play some John Huh and see how that goes. Another guy that I do like as well here is Marty Laird, 7,500 on DraftKings. I've got him at 70 to 1 odds over on the DraftKings Sportsbook. If you look back at the history, the average is about 45 to 1 for the odds of the golfer who wins. So 70 to 1 is not crazy. Neither is the John Huh at 45 to 1. This event gets some golfers that are much higher odds. So I'm okay playing both of these guys as an outright bet. But for me, Marty on DraftKings, I think, is a great play. His form is not excellent. He's only made 6 out of his last 10 cuts, but that does include 13th at the Travelers last week, which I think is a pretty darn good comp course if you're looking at him. His course history, he was 37th in 2019, and then 28th the last year, 2021. His irons and wedges have been really good the last month or so. The issue for him is it's just the putter. The putter is not great. He comes in 15th ball striking, 14th approach, 23rd around the greens. Really good par 5 scorer, and he's 4th in fairways gained. So I like all that there. A couple other popular options. I already mentioned Schenk and Svensson. They'll both be really popular. And Cam Davis looks like he's getting a ton of ownership gravitating towards him in the 8K range. So maybe a couple guys you might be able to fade and go the route of these two instead. But I'm going to look now, sleeper. These are a couple guys that are not going to be popular options at all on DraftKings. And I have some reasons I kind of like both of these guys. Starting off first with Vaughn Taylor at 6,800 on DraftKings. He's 130 to 1 to win outright. Don't know if I love that so much, but a top 20 bet would interest me a lot on Vaughn Taylor. He's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 7-8% owned on DraftKings. The form's okay, 7 out of his last 10 cuts. He was 48th at the RBC Canadian, and then 7th back in March at the Puerto Rico Open. The course history, though, is intriguing here. He's made 7 out of 8 cuts at this event, including 34th last year and 6th in 2019. I like that quite a bit. He ranks 32nd on comp courses, and he's top 20 when it comes to course history in my modeling here. But the main reason for Vaughn Taylor is he is number 1 on approach and 14th in finding fairways. So I see him as a guy that can certainly give you a lot of opportunities and maybe round out a nice 6 out of 6 lineup for you. Another guy I'm diving deep down here, and that is Chris Stroud. He's 6,500 on DraftKings, 200 to 1. I will not be betting him outright, but he looks like he'd be like maybe under 2% owned on DraftKings. He can be an absolute super sleeper here for you. He's excellent on par 5 scoring. If you look at the rest of the modeling, it's really ugly. The reasons that I like him, though, it's the comp course history. He ranks 13th there. He ranks 12th on easy scoring courses in this field. And then the course history, he's made 6 out of his 7 cuts at this event. Twice he's been top 5, and that includes the last time he played. That was in 2019. Again, don't look at the logs for him. Don't look at the modeling. He's only played 3 events in 2020. That's 2 missed cuts and a 49th. That is not the reason I'm playing him, but rather this is a good course fit for Chris Stroud. He's proven that many times in the past, and then as well as just that comp course history. It's tough to ignore a guy at 6,500 that ranks both top 15 in comp courses as well as course history, and then shots gained on easy courses as well. So I think he is an option to fill in your lineup at 6,500 too. It'll allow you to pick 2 studs if you really want to go that route. All right, last bit here is the one and dones. I am not having a good season at all. Last week had another missed cut with Jordan Spieth. So I'm hoping to make a little bit of a turnaround. I think Charles Howell will be a little less owned than maybe your Webb Simpson, your Adam Hadwin, a couple of those other guys at the top. He will gain some ownership, though. He'll probably be 5 to 10%. I'm okay with that. Give me Charles Howell. TK, who is doing much better this year. He just needs another couple wins, and he'll be right there into the money. Maybe even just 1 win will bump him certainly into the money. He is undecided at this moment. He will be posting his pick in our Discord. You can find all of the other information that we have in our Discord. That can be found through our Twitter handle at FSI_DFS or at our website, FSIDFS.com. You can find the link there. And in our Discord, we'll be discussing things like weather advantage. Looks like there could be quite a bit of weather on Thursday, very windy. And then Friday, potentially an advantage there. So we'll kind of see how it shakes out. Maybe look at wave stacking quite a bit this week. I'm not exactly sure at this moment on a Tuesday, but certainly something to be thinking about. We'll also post ownership projections, really kind of trying to find some pivots off of the chalk and avoiding some of the chalk as well. If you've been playing the last few weeks, the DFS chalk has just been brutal. If you can fade the vast majority of those high-owned guys, give yourself a huge advantage in GPPs. We'll be posting all of that along with our core plays right into our Discord. That is the best way to find all of our information. So that's about it for this week's show. It was a quick one here. We're looking forward to another winning week. Last week went pretty well. DraftKings was more difficult, but the Yahoo pricing was much better last week. And this week as well, there is a ton of value over on Yahoo. They've mispriced a handful of golfers that I might be locking 1 or 2 of them in my lineups and then just hammering the others as much as I can. So I think Yahoo is an opportunity to get a bit of leverage this week. DraftKings, though, the pricing, although difficult, I think there's some advantage this week playing when the field is this poor and so many unknown golfers. I like that. I think that gives us an advantage as well. So join us in the Discord for all the latest details here on Tuesday and Wednesday going into lock on Thursday, and enjoy yourself some John Deere Classic.